All right, testing, testing. Can anyone hear me? Trying to get this thing going. Yes, yes. Okay, okay. Might be a little delayed. I don't know. I gotta figure out all the settings and stuff. All right, give me just a second. What happened to the live? It cut or something? It should be good now. I had to end it and redo it. Give me just a second though. I'm gonna share the link to Twitter and my Discord real quick and then yo, what's up? Appreciate that, Marwan. Also, I'm gonna try and put like a little background noise on. Let me make sure it's not too loud. I'm gonna try and put like a little background noise on. Let me make sure it's not too loud. Need to come live more often? I do it in the Discord decently often. I live stream every Sunday and then I do 1 to 2 days of live streaming. Could you send your Discord link? Yeah, I'll send it here in a little bit. I don't know. That's one thing about me. I don't like sitting here promoting it, so I just let really whoever joins join. But you can find the link on my Twitter bio. But yeah, I can send it here in a little bit. Give me 1 second. I'm gonna send the link in my Discord real quick. All right. Things should be good. You need the link? You aren't promoting it, bro. I'm asking for it. All right, all right. I'll share it here soon. Cause hold on, let me take a look at the charts and explain what I'm seeing. Cause if you're on here for a signal, you're gonna be disappointed. I'll go ahead and let y'all know that because we already had a great week Tuesday through Thursday. I'll go over the setups I actually took this week here soon, but I'm personally done on the week. I'm kind of on here to tape read and have fun. Morning, boys. Hope everyone's doing well. But yeah, right now, NQ has traded up into our 3.5 to 4 standard deviations from our midnight manipulation. Yo, it's Squiz. Oh shit, what's up, man? I'm still thinking they're going to deliver higher. I mean, we have non-farm payroll in 9 minutes. I think they're going to expand through this swing because to me, so I came into this week, honestly, with more of a bearish bias. I was wanting to see this daily order block 50% level hold. And yesterday actually closed above it, which at the same time, this is why I also say draw on liquidity is much more important than a bias. Because if you can find what we're drawing for or have an idea of what you think we can draw for, the standard deviation is going to confirm your draw. So if the standard deviation isn't aligning with your draw on liquidity, it's as simple as avoid the setup until it aligns with your draw. Or maybe you need to do more work on draw on liquidity. Maybe you're not finding the right draw. So, but this week, I came into the week with a bearish bias. but I've taken nothing but longs this week. So to me, it's more about drawing liquidity. What are we drawing for rather than a bias? And I mean, yesterday closed above my bearish level, so I think they're going to continue. I will say though, I'm watching the all-time high again because ES is still taking all-time highs, forming this new SMT. Because I was really wanting that first SMT to honestly take us down to this monthly FEG. It's still very possible as long as NQ doesn't take all-time highs, but it's hard to have a bearish bias right now. What do you think of that volume imbalance? Yeah, I was looking at that. See, here's what I'm thinking. I'm still going into non-farm payroll thinking they're going to pump it because I'm really watching all-time highs. Because if they do a non-farm payroll pump and we stay short of this all-time high, this SMT can hold, and then non-farm payroll could be more of like the monthly manipulation up here, and then they continue it lower from there. Top has to almost be in. I think it is close. I'm wanting to see that pull back to the monthly FEG. I think it's looking nice. Our daily projection looks good. I mean, to me, this swing is still valid as long as we don't take all-time highs. Honestly, if today wasn't NFP, I'd be in the shorts. Yeah, low key. I was thinking about maybe even accumulating a little short swing up here. We'll see though. I think for a downside move, we want to see non-farm payroll pump, but stay short of all-time highs. Hey bro, why don't you see XAU USD? What's that, gold, right? I don't know. I've just never really traded it personally. I chart it every now and then whenever I have people in the Discord ask me about it, but I don't know. My bread and butter occurs really on NQ and ES. I'll trade oil futures a little bit. I haven't here lately because, I mean, I can go to both really. I know the higher time frame for oil and gold hasn't looked the best. Okay, well, the last time since I looked at gold, it did get a nice expansion. But I was going to say the last time I looked at it, these weekly and monthly candles right in here were looking pretty brutal. Hey BD, it's P. Yo, what's good? Can you all hear the background noise? Just like the little music playing. If not, I gotta figure out the settings and shit, but do you think you're going to make a video on top and bottom ticking with standard deviation? I mean, I get asked this, but everything I've given is there. So for example, like, okay, we have 5 minutes till NFP, so I'll go over one of the setups I took. So let's go over the long I took yesterday, because to me, everything that's needed I've given. So if you're familiar with any of my YouTube videos, you should know the one shot one kill setup. It's that breaker with the midnight manipulation, that second stage midnight manipulation. So here was our midnight open yesterday. So yesterday going into the morning, they gave this nice move up, and I was actually long in London. Okay, I took 2 trades yesterday. I was long in London down here. I held that all night. We went up, took previous day high, and I didn't take a partial there. It was kind of dumb, but we hadn't hit our 2 to 2.5 standard deviation, so I was still wanting to see another run higher. And they started giving this move down, and as they were doing that, I really thought they were going to come back and refer to the midnight open again, so I took it off right in here for, it was like 20 or 30 points profit. It was like 600 profit there. So I went ahead and took it off early there because I thought we were going to come back to the midnight open, and that would have stopped me at break even. So when they came back to the midnight open though, that's when I was live in the Discord, and we went long there as soon as we manipulated the midnight open, because that's, this is damn near a textbook setup to that one shot one kill video. Okay, We came back down. We're manipulating below the midnight open onto the bullish breaker right here. So once again, you can mark out the breaker, mark it over, and then you can see it did happen very quick. It was this 930 wick, but it went right up where 2 to 2.5 standard deviations. That must be random, right? Seller stepped in right there. Huh? Yeah, okay. Must have been. And then from there, right down to low of day, and then formed a new swing back to the upside. I mean, it's the same shit on repeat. All right, and then you want to see the setup the day before? How similar was this? I'm keeping an eye on the time. We still have 3 minutes till NFP. Setup the day before, Wednesday. Tell me how similar this was to Thursday's. The midnight open, the manipulation of it. All right, we got our breaker there, SMT under it. Look at that. They came back to the breaker. You can go look on Twitter. That candle right there where we manipulated the midnight open is where we went long. One shot, one kill. Once again, they actually gave 2 one-shot, one kills today. Or this week. Very beautiful. And once again, so a lot of these people are asking between first distribution and last manipulation leg, okay? Listen up right here. Okay, midnight. So go study Wednesday's price action. The midnight manipulation, there was a last manipulation, okay? They manipulated the midnight open with SMT. 2 a.m., that 4-hour open. I was fine entering long without us coming back to manipulate that 2 a.m. open because I anticipated us to use that first distribution leg. And I'm using the first distribution leg because look where they opened the 2 a.m. open. There was no manipulation there within that 2 a.m. open after 2 a.m. So I'm using that first distribution leg. And look how it aligned with the midnight manipulation leg. Damn near identical swings. So that's how I knew to go ahead and trust it. But back-to-back days, one shot, one kill setups. Beautiful. And why I'm done on the week. I mean, this price action this week has been very nice. Wait, there's an echo. Wait, for real? Wait, I thought I was listening to it. That's fine. Wait, I thought I was listening. Oh, not anymore. Okay, it probably was on that first time before like I ended it and went live again. Cause yeah, I think it was messed up that first time. How do you determine your draw on liquidity? Oh, well, there was non-farm payroll. Hold up. Shit. Okay, ES is much more extended to the downside. They did form a new SMT, so hold on, what would this swing to the downside look like? A magnet not on? What is? Ooh, they might come back and test that level we broke above yesterday. See, but it's so hard to be bearish. I just think a move, I really think NQ is going to take this high. I couldn't short it yet, personally. There's no echo. So how do you determine your draw? I usually go about marking out higher time frame levels. So, okay, well, yep, now they're going for the pump that I was wanting. So this is where I'm saying we really need to keep an eye on all-time highs going into the end of the week, because that could play into next week. Yeah, that was a dirty wick they did there. But yeah, they're going to expand through this swing now, like I was thinking. Yeah, that was a dirty wick though, and why I usually avoid non-farm payroll. But so going about drawing liquidity. So I was actually talking to someone about this in the Discord last night. So to me, the strongest arrays for drawing liquidity are gaps. So including in that is wicks, and then you have your real gaps, volume imbalances. To me, these three things right here are some of the strongest draws and what I'm usually looking for. But then you can also mark out like your higher time frame for value gaps, time-based liquidity, so power of 3 highs and lows. I'm not trying to use some random high and low within a power of 3. But I mean, typically I'm marking out points of interest like that, and I let price come to me. I let the swings align with my points of interest. I wait for price to come to me and align with what I want. If my swings or the SMT and like the manipulation of our power of 3 opening isn't aligning with where I wanted to see us go or where I wanted to see us draw, then it's as simple as that. I'm avoiding it. Jesus, that spread was nasty. Yeah, that wick to the downside was nasty. Right back up instant. Well, I usually avoid it too, because that's what I was saying. Like, they were like a point short from that high. Like, I knew that was fake. So let's just see here. Yeah, ES dug into that hourly FEG. It also went below the 6 p.m. open. Yeah, I think we're just going to continue to draw higher for right now. Like I said, this upside move could play into potentially this being the monthly manipulation. Non-farm payroll be the manipulation today. And then possibly next week start downside again, but I'm not convinced fully on that yet. Was today London longs not good? I mean, no, they definitely would have banged. I just personally didn't trade last night. I mean, it was night before non-farm payroll. They didn't quite give a one shot, one kill. If they would have manipulated midnight there, I mean, that would have been mint, but... Oh, wait, ES did. Yeah, longs last night would have been mint as well. Yeah, look at that. ES made new low of day, manipulated the midnight open there. SMT could have definitely entered long in here. And look at that, they stayed short of 3.5 to 4 standard deviations. And where do they run to on this next run up? 3.5 to 4. So yeah. Good eye. Would have definitely been a good long last night. But at the same time, though, you got to keep in mind, like, although it looked like a good long, it was non-farm payroll in the morning. Like, even though I see this, I'll still avoid the next night before non-farm payroll. But yeah, I mean, it's definitely good to train the eye. Look good. Let's see. I'm not fully convinced on this just yet, but I'm just curious as to what the swing to the upside would look like. Okay, yeah, because that 2 to 2.5 is looking very possible up here. Uh-oh. 3.5 to 4 is at all-time highs, too. Yeah, I didn't take it. I just tape read. Yeah, that's kind of what I'm doing here this morning anyway, because, I mean, I'm up nice on the week, and it's non-farm payroll. I kind of just want to watch it anyway, because usually it plays a good role into the monthly manipulation, so can get a good idea going into next week. I was thinking we were drawing to the weekly volume imbalance on NQ at 22,500. Wait, let me see. Wait, 22,500? Well, I mean, that's right down there with that monthly FEG I was wanting to see. And honestly, like I said, I came into the week with a bearish bias, and I've only taken longs. I mean, I was kind of right in the beginning. I mean, they did drop it 400 or 500 points right off the bat to start the week, but it wasn't a setup I could take because they just did it at a time I wasn't trading. So, I mean, you can have an incorrect draw, but still not take a losing trade on it. Like, obviously there's times you're going to, there's no way to avoid losers completely. But I mean, this week was a great example. Like, I went in with the bearish bias, but I was going down to the 1 hour, 4 hour, and our drawn liquidity was just showing me higher. Like, we're hitting our standard deviations to the downside. We're forming SMT below our power of 3 openings. It's just everything was aligning for upside. I couldn't force any downside setups. If you check this 4 hour manipulation, we had the low of news at 2 to 2.5. Did it come in there? Which one are you projecting now? 'Cause I mean, they came up like a tick short of it. Almost perfect. Can't expect it to always be perfect, especially on non-farm payroll, but I mean, it's going with what I wanted right now. I thought we'd go higher. I mean, they gave a nasty wick first, but it's going higher right now. Yee, almost. Yeah. Yeah, you can't expect it to be perfect to the tick, especially on non-farm payroll. I use 5 and 15 minutes, as you say in your videos. Yep. I think a lot of people get hurt trying to go down to the 1 minute a lot of times. I mean, don't get me wrong. There's times I do go down to the 1 minute, like if I expect like a fast delivery or fast reversal to take place. But most of the time, yeah, I'm sticking to the 5 and 15 minute. Just helps keep an idea. And always keep an idea of these higher time frame candles. That's why I have this indicator. And yeah, if you don't have this indicator, ICT higher time frame candles, you can adjust it so much. You can put on different time frames, different amounts of candles. Just helps you keep an idea of what that higher time frame is looking like. How do you measure your standard deviation for like 830 and 930 manipulation and distribution? Well, if the 830 or 930 is manipulation, then I classify that inside the 6 a.m. 4 hour candle. So to me, I'm just projecting the manipulation of that. But like 830 and 930 by itself, like it's not something I'm typically focusing on trying to project that every day. Like, because there's days 830 to me, it doesn't really do anything significant. So then I'm waiting for 930 and then 930 does the significant move. And then we're projecting that because that was also the manipulation of the 6 a.m. price. But if we don't see any manipulation then typically it carries over into that next 10 a.m. 4 hour open. I use 1 minute with 5 minutes to start to move the 4 hour. Yeah, it's not bad. Quarterly theory, you know what it is. I'm aware of it. It's not something I really subscribe to that much, but the only thing I've taken from quarterly theory is that the most movement occurs in quarter 2 and quarter 3. Other than that, I didn't take anything else away from it. The knowledge from your videos is super good. I just need to trust my shit for real. Since watching your videos, I've got everything perfect, but I didn't take it. Yeah. Yeah, as you start to get into it more, you realize analysis is the easy part. It really is. Analysis and calling where price is going to go is the easy part, for sure. You found a better indicator for the higher time frame again? Wait, what do you mean? Wait, were you the one that showed me in Discord this indicator? because like in the past, I know I used that higher time frame indicator that just showed one candle, but then someone showed me this one where you could add multiple and multiple different time frames. Oh, that was you? What a goat. Okay, wait, what's the new one then? What's so good about it? Do you use YM for any of your SMT? I don't. To me, SMT is much more... it's much stronger between NQ and ES. Because there's a lot of times you can see the Dow in its own world. How do you know what time frame to project from? Well, you want your standard deviations to align between time frames. So, for example, well, actually, this isn't the best example, but a lot of times here, so I'm using this projection to the upside from like the manipulation we had of midnight last night. So, here on the 5 minute, a lot of times you can see like there will be another high within it, and then people will be like, oh, well, why'd you choose this high to choose? Well, whenever you go to the 15 minute, that's that high to low that aligns to the 15 minute. Okay, it's all about going between time frames and seeing the time frame alignment. Because see, once again here, how even going to the hourly, the fib is aligned from an hourly low and an hourly high. Okay, I'm making sure it's aligning between time frames. That's how you're going to get the most accurate projections. And every time you're projecting, I recommend flipping between time frames, making sure it's aligning between more time frames. I mean, yeah, to me, I think they're going to send it up again here. I mean, it's reacting off this breaker for value gap right now. I mean, at the worst, it could come back down and test the 50% of this wick. But I think this is going higher still. I want to know, does it have to be a swing point or just highs and lows? I mean, I'm projecting manipulation. So the easiest way to explain it is SMT confirms the end of the manipulation. So last night, SMT at the lows, SMT at the lows. Go back and look at the last 2 days as well. SMT at the lows. And where was it at? Right there, at or under the midnight open. And then I'm projecting that to the upside. I mean, it's really about the logic of the manipulation. So, I mean, it's more to it than just a pattern of the way you're projecting. All right, you need to have logic behind it. And this is also why I say not to use indicators that mark out like PD arrays and things like that for you. Because a PD array by itself is useless. All right, you need logic behind it. Mine shows the midpoint of the higher time frame candles, sweeps on higher time frame candles, separate our lines on chart. Marks the higher time frame imbalances and for I get. Yeah, that definitely doesn't sound bad. I'll probably just stick with this one that you showed me though. I like this one. Cause yeah, once it gets to the point where it starts marking like fair value gaps and stuff, I'm good on it. Cause I like to have logic behind my PD arrays. What do you think of longs from the 15-minute breaker? That's what I was saying there. Like, as we were acting out of it, I think this is just going to push higher out of it. I mean, that wick came back nicely to the breaker, fair value gap. It's also bouncing again off of this high that we broke out through. Let's see, the 50% of this weekly wick. Because we never did refer to that. You know, and that's right there below that 2 to 2.5 standard deviations of that swing I was marking out. Wait, Sid said, bro, not being able to chat feels like being in prison. What, is it like is it your Google account or your YouTube account? Like, what is happening? I don't understand why it's not letting you chat. I mean, hey, you could be a crazy person and be the only one sending messages in Discord. Can you show your background colors? Okay, here. I'm going to send the link to join the Discord once again, because I actually made a channel in there the other day where I have all my indicators and chart colors in one of the channels because I would always get asked and I was tired of pulling it up. So if you're wanting to join, I sent it in chat there, the Discord link a few times. Because yeah, in there, if you're looking for the indicators that I use in the settings, I only use 3 indicators, none of which marks out anything like crazy important, but yeah, you can join there. Let's go, Habibi. Where's the Discord? Right above your chat. Can you show an example of where the wicks are gaps? Oh boy, can I. I mean, most recent example here on the daily. I mean, the 50% of that wick holding like a tank. I mean, it held over here too. We bounced off of it again. Bro, the way wicks work is gaps. Which day was it when we were actually going back and forth between those 50%? I know the people in the Discord know which day I'm talking about. Right here. When was it? Yeah. Once again, coming back down to the 50% of the wick, right up off of it again. Oh, let's look at the upper end though. It was probably random, right? 50% once again. I mean, like I said, you just got to do your own study into it. I'm telling you. I mean, the strongest draw on liquidity to me is gaps. Wicks, gaps that you can actually see that are in the chart. So something like, let me zoom out. Like wicks are a form of gap. So it's not something that everyone thinks is a gap. But or like a gap like this, where there's actually nothing there, or a volume imbalance. To me, those are some of the strongest draws on liquidity. So like this volume imbalance, to me, I bet this will be a good target next week to come back to. I mean, like there was one recently. Yeah, right here. There was another daily volume imbalance. They left right here, and then they came down, and then once they bounced off the 50% of that wick, it was right back to that volume imbalance, and they put a candle through it. Do you have any educational content on Discord too? In Discord, like on actual Discord, I don't have any videos posted in there. I do on the WAP though. WAP is apparently not available in my region, bro. I had a few people say that. I'm not for sure what regions exactly aren't available. My question about highs and lows, can we talk about it within the 15 minutes? If you go to the 5 minute, there's a swing at the recry. Wait, what do you mean? Settings for the fib. Yeah, it's pretty simple. It's just the 0, 1, and then using negative numbers. But yeah, it uses negative numbers because the way it works when you're keying the fib, the positive 1 is part of where you're keying the fib. So the positive 1 is on where I'm keying it. So if I was trying to project using positive numbers, it just wouldn't be accurate. Because for the... yeah, it just wouldn't be accurate because 1 standard deviation would be using like the number 2 number, rather than if you're just using the negatives, it keeps it simple, like 1 standard deviation, 2 standard deviations. I'm currently in India, going to go to Oman. Once it's there, I'll check if it's available there. Okay. I feel like... oh, the 50% of the wick setting? Oh, my bad. Oh, wait, yeah, I forget I have, like, templates saved for different settings. But yeah, for the quarterly levels, I just have the 0, 0.25, 0.50, 0.75, and the 1. That's just to mark out, like, my quarterly levels. So then, yeah, you can use, like, the 50, the middle for the 50%. Yeah. But you're currently in India. I've really thought WAP was available in India, but maybe not. But yeah, all right, yeah. I mean, so far, I mean, it's still going how I was thinking. We're still just trucking higher. Like I said, I think we're still reaching for this 2 to 2.5 standard deviations. Yeah, they reacted out of that breaker for value gap nicely. Anyone who took that is fucking... y'all are big chillin'. Why draw the standard deviation like that when there's a lower high just below it before the news candle? That's a good question. Time frame alignment. Yeah, although there is a high there on the 15-minute, go up to the hourly. That explains this projection right there. I see. Yup. Always be flipping between them time frames. What are the odds that 930 drops us lower? If it does, I would look at it as a fake move. I think it would be a fake move to go back higher. I don't think a downside move would be true until we reach this 2 to 2.5 standard deviations. Discord link not working. Here, I could send it again, but like I said, if you go to my Twitter, I have... oh shit. Hold up. That did not send right. Discord link worked for me. Worked. Yeah, I don't know. It might have just fucking... worked for me too. Okay, bet. Yeah, like I said, it's not that big of a deal to keep sharing it every now and then. But yeah, if the link for some reason isn't working, go to my Twitter. And then in my bio. Because even if it takes you to the WAP, you should be able to join like the free Discord through WAP as well. Because I have it like that where it goes through WAP because it usually Like, it helps manage the bots better, like whenever there's spam bots that join. But honestly, ever since I paid that guy to make that custom bot for the Discord, it's been working. It's been banning the fake accounts and the spammers. Can you use IPTA data ranges with standard deviations? Absolutely. Absolutely. Worked. I pasted on Discord and it worked. It's my browser. Oh, okay, bet. Awesome. So let's see. I'm still gonna stay on here for the 9:30 open. I don't know how much longer I'll stay on today after that. I'm gonna try and stay on till like 10ish, but I have to take one of our dogs to the vet, so I don't know how much longer I'll stay on past 9:30. I'm just gonna go ahead and say that. Let me make a quick phone call real quick. My friend, for yourself, where can you find your Discord? Yeah, just above. It's linked in the chat, or you can find it from my Twitter. One sec, though. Oh, wait, Sid, I bet I know why it was fucking, like why the sound was doubled earlier, or why it was like repeating. Because whenever I was turning it on to like test it to hear it for myself, it was just like going over the recording. And it was just repeating like that because I was testing to hear it. How many candles you use for IPTA data ranges? What do you mean? I mean, it's the 20, 40, 60-day look back. I mean, it's definitely more of a higher time frame use. It's not something I'm looking at all the time personally. I mean, it's definitely something you can use with them, but I don't know. I feel like I would focus more into like yearly power of 3 and higher time frame power of 3s rather than like the IPTA data ranges. Like, don't get me wrong though, IPTA data ranges definitely have their place for what they do, and you can definitely study those and get a read from them. But me personally, I would rather look at a higher time frame power of 3, like yearly power of 3. But yeah, if you're familiar with IPTA data ranges, you can definitely add the standard deviations with that. Can we use the yearly power of 3 as a draw on liquidity? I mean, power of 3 is just the development of the candle. So you could be using, for example, the power of 3 highs and lows as a draw on liquidity, or like the power of 3 opening price as a draw on liquidity. But power of 3 in itself is just the way the candle is being broken down. Power of 3 accumulation, manipulation, distribution. Where are you from, by the way? I mean, I'm from the US, but state-wise, I'm from Indiana. Yes, I mean the yearly open. Oh yeah, for sure. Yep. I had my phone on my PC and turned off my phone, and this kept happening. I was like, the fuck? Yeah, it's a nice chill little morning here. So, I mean, we're getting closer to 9:30. We still have some time here, but to me, 9:30 should continue the pump higher to 2 to 2.5. And like I said, if 9:30 does go lower, I would look at that as a fake move. And that could possibly even offer longs, like a long opportunity if it did go lower. Because then I think it would just go right up to 2 to 2.5 after. All right, 1 second. I'm getting that phone call now. Fake move into the fair value gap, then probably return higher. It's possible. I feel like they're just going to keep gunning it, honestly. Because, I mean, after they gave non-farm payroll, they gave a nice little pullback right there. I feel like that was the last long opportunity they're going to give before they reach this 2 to 2.5. I mean, and that wasn't bad either. I mean, they touched the breaker, fair value gap. Oh yeah, I mean, that was really nice because as well as look at that wick that happened right here. Okay, so this wick that reached into the fair value gap and breaker, look at the ES, that same wick. So I'll ask you all, I'm not going to say it, but there was something significant that happened right here that was different between NQ and ES. Something significant happened there at that wick. Holy shit, I got it to work. Oh, Sid's in the YouTube now. Yes, sir. What do y'all notice is different? I mean, something significant happened there between these wicks of NQ and ES. Majorly different. Yesterday, I measured the deviation and ping pong both moves. I used 3 minutes to find smaller deviations. Do you have any experience doing this? Also, I've done it multiple days. You definitely can. So I will say a lot of times when you're going down to like the 1 minute or a lower time frame like that, you're more of likely trading like an hourly power of 3 rather than like the 4-hour or daily power of 3, which don't get me wrong, that still 100% works. But yeah, you're going to be more of looking for those like scalps and stuff, looking like he just said, those ping pong moves going back and forth. For sure, those lower time frame standard deviations can definitely work as well. I just personally trade the higher time frame ones because over time, just with how I've built up capital and everything, I've found more success trading less, but going in a little bit heavier on those higher probability setups. So I like to wait for, so I'm going as deep as I'm looking inside the weekly power of 3. So then I'm breaking it down each week. I'm trying to find the days that I think we're more likely to expand within that week. So I'm trying to trade on the days that I think the weekly power of 3 is going to expand. So I could care less about the days I sit out. Like I sit out days, I sit out moves all the time. And this is why I say, if you want to learn real patience, come trade with me. You're going to learn it. But nobody said it yet. Anyone want to take a guess? What happened there on that wick? And why I feel like they're just going to continue higher. Something happened right there that was different between NQ and ES. 1 second, I'm getting a phone call again. All right. I should be good to stay on till 10, actually. I don't think I have to take the dog to the vet today. I think I'm doing that Tuesday, actually, of next week. Let's see. Ain't it midnight SMT? Midnight SMT. There we go. There we go. There we go. Yes. Yes. So if you did not notice, that wick on ES went below the midnight open. That wick on NQ did not. Something significant happened there. To me, that is the form of hidden SMT they gave there. And now, to me, I think this low is going to hold and they just continue trucking it up for this 2 to 2.5. Oh, fucks. Tell you right. Yes, I've been on a tear since I started watching you. Hell yeah. Love hearing that. Yes, took Asia low. Gotta be midnight SMT. Yeah, NQ did not. Blew an entire 50K to this news. I mean, if it was just in an eval, I mean, you gotta understand that risk going into it. I mean, it's news, especially non-farm payroll. I mean, it provides these big moves, and a lot of times too, it doesn't even work out for either sides because they'll give a nasty wick like that. What indicators do you use? Okay, this is the only time I'm going to say it here on the live because once again, I have a channel in the Discord that I have all of my indicators and chart colors, but this is the only time I go over it here real quick on the live. So I use ICT everything. This marks out the vertical midnight lines for me and the days of the week up top. So you can see there's a lot of settings here. I have all the settings off except days of the week and labels. The midnight vertical lines. And then the historical midnight vertical line. So then it shows you the previous ones. And you can change this to like last 4 weeks or the current session only. But that's that indicator. Key times, I just have it where it shows me the midnight open. Just marks out the midnight open for me. Simple as that. Watermark, most of you probably aren't going to care for this one. Just has these words up here for me. And then ICT higher time frame candles. This is my favorite indicator by far. Marks up these higher time frame candles for me. You can adjust and mess around with this one a lot. Like you can change the time frame of candle you have here. You can change the amount of candles that show. A lot of different ways you can mess with this. So yeah, these are the indicators I use though. Like I said, this is definitely my favorite one. It helps you keep an idea of the higher time frame candle. Because that's what we're breaking down. We're breaking down power of 3. We're breaking down these higher time frame candles. So helps you keep a great idea of it. I noticed we normally get a nasty wick at 9:32. Yeah, this past I will say these past 2-3 weeks, the 9:30 move has been given that they give that quick manipulation move and then it's off from there. For sure. Definitely something I've noticed as well. Is 3.5 to 4 valid? It is. You know, here's what I'll say. I'm not convinced on it yet. I would say the most obvious thing to me is 2 to 2.5. I say that because when we reach 2 to 2.5, we are going to have a higher time frame SMT. So it is harder to trust 3.5 to 4 for right now. I need to see more. I need to see how we react out of 2 to 2.5 because ES is still taking all-time highs. ES is making new all-time highs as we speak. NQ is still not. So if they form like a lower time frame SMT inside this 2 to 2.5 as well, then no, I wouldn't expect this to get delivered to. But if they just start reaccumulating down out of this 2 to 2.5 and they don't leave a lower time frame SMT, then yeah, it's likely they'll give another pump up maybe next week. I don't think this will get delivered to today though. I think this is the main thing I'm looking at for today, because it's also right here with the 50% of that weekly wick. That weekly wick here. Here's that 50% level. So to me, the main and the most obvious thing for today is that 2 to 2.5. That 3.5 to 4 could very well carry into next week. But like I said, I want to see the reaction here first. I'm not fully convinced on it just yet. How do you normally trade all-time highs? Not trying to pick the top, that's for sure. Like, I'll take the bearish setups when everything is there for sure. Like, we have double SMT, we're hitting our standard deviations to the upside. But trying to pick the tops every day is definitely going to get you cooked. It's a good way to lose a lot of money quick. Because like I said, I came into the week with a bearish bias, and I only took longs this week. Just goes to show, drawing liquidity is so much more important than your bias. But I mean, the way I'm going about all-time highs, I mean, it's really the same way I'm always going about price. I'm just charting out my higher time frame arrays, where I think price is going to draw to. Time-based liquidity, power of 3 highs and lows. So previous week, previous day, previous 4-hour highs and lows. Okay, that's how I'm marking it out. I'm not marking out some random internal high or low for us to draw to. No, it's got to make sense. And it needs to be time-based liquidity if I'm marking out liquidity. Or like relative equal highs and relative equal lows, something that looks like support or resistance to the masses. So then you know there's a lot of orders sitting above or below that. I'm just marking out my points of interest like that. And then I'm simply, it's as simple as this. I'm marking out my points of interest, and then I'm waiting for the manipulation of our key time openings. And then if our standard deviation swing is aligning with my draw on liquidity or my points of interest that I was marking out, boom, that right there is confirming my draw. And then I'm looking for my entry. If it doesn't align with my draw, then there's nothing to take. There's no setup there for me. I'm more than fine sitting it out. Yo, key times doesn't show up in indicators. Yeah, this is the one I use. Search key times and opening prices. It's by Ollie Trades. Or you might be able to search up the Rise Dash Trading and find it. There's 600 using it. Like I said, you don't have to use the same one I'm using. You could likely search up some like key time indicator, and you'd maybe be able to add the midnight open to it. But literally all this indicator does is mark out the midnight open for me. Any of these indicators I could live without. Like I could very easily just mark out the midnight open every day. The only indicators I have are just something that makes it a little easier for me. Nothing that's marking out PD arrays or anything for me, because like I said, you need logic behind your PD arrays. A PD array by itself is useless. Do you think data lows is the draw on liquidity after we hit 2 to 2.5? Like I said, I need to see the reaction up at 2 to 2.5 first. It's very possible though. But I'm not convinced on either side just yet. I think the most obvious thing to me at the moment is that we are drawing to that 2 to 2.5. -2 and 2.5 aligns with the 4-hour FVG. Yep, good eye. But to me, that is the most obvious thing to me right now. Once we reach that, I need to see the reaction, because we will have a higher time frame SMT as ES is still taking all-time highs. But if NQ just expands above that, then we're going to see NQ just move up and catch up with the ES and take out all-time highs. But if we see like another lower time frame SMT form up here, like on the 15-minute or something, then yeah, I would expect a reversal to form there. And then yes, the data low would be a beautiful draw back down. But we need to see the reaction up there first. It's just not that obvious at the moment. I would like to know how to predict the high and low of the week for weekly power of 3. I mean, how can we know each week where it will be the lower high of the week? So the point of manipulation to catch the whole move up. I mean, it's hard to just give an explanation for that. Because, I mean, you're going to have your standard deviations every week. So, I mean, sometimes it can happen much quicker than others. But, I mean, it's no different than how I'm going about daily power of 3, 4-hour power of 3. I'm marking out our opening. I'm looking at the higher time frame. I'm marking out our arrays. Whereabouts should that weekly candle react, I think? What is the higher time frame order flow? Okay? Are we bullish on the higher time frame? Are we still drawing higher? What are we drawing for? It's as simple as that. If I think the higher time frame is still bullish, then I'm typically looking for a move under the weekly open, okay? And then I'm looking for that SMT and then looking for our projection to the upside. I mean, I'm going about every power of 3 the same. This model's fractal, all right? It's the same way that you're breaking down an hourly power of 3 all the way up to a yearly power of 3. The only difference is the time frame and how long it'll take it to play out. Think we might get a spike into this breaker for 930. I mean, if we do, like I was saying, I think a move down would be fake, so definitely probably wouldn't be a bad try at a long if you could frame some good risk with it. We need a video of how you do higher time frame to lower time frame analysis till you enter a trade. I feel like if you were in the Discord, it would make a lot more sense, because every weekend I do a live stream on Sunday and we just go over what like we anticipate to happen that week and just like ideas. We're framing out ways that we could anticipate price to play out different ways. Some weeks it's more set than others. Like we'll have just like an idea of just like a one-sided idea. Okay, we think we're going to go down, or there's other weeks like, okay, we think we're going to go down to this point and then reverse. It just varies by week. Varies by the news, varies by the setup. What's the Discord? I'll spam the link again. There it is. Gonna be in there this Sunday? Hell yeah, bro. See you then. Yeah, all those Sunday lives as well, they get uploaded on WAP if you can't make those. But yes, sir. Let's see though, we got 10 minutes till the 9:30 open. We're getting closer here now. Like I said, I still want to see a move higher. I think if they do go lower off 9:30, it would be fake move. What's your take on wickless candles? Beautiful draw on liquidity. I love seeing those. Love seeing those wickless candles. Man, especially when it's in the current power of 3 you're trading. Man, we haven't seen one of these setups in a little bit. But man, these are some of my favorite when they give like 10 a.m. news. So like say this is the 10 a.m. open. And then they give the 10 a.m. news and they just trade straight up or straight down away from it. Man, I love that because they give no wick on that candle. So then from there, that's when I'm taking my attention to like the midnight projection or the 6 a.m. projection. Okay, one of our previous projections from that day. And I'm looking for an idea to like frame out an idea for a top. So if we're hitting our midnight standard deviations, for example. So say we're looking at this swing. So don't look at the price action we have over here. I'm doing this rough drawing. So say this was our midnight swing and we're looking at 10 a.m. Okay, so 10 a.m. trades straight up away from the opening. I'm looking at that midnight projection. Okay, so I'm waiting for us to trade up into it and bang, right there when we do. If we see SMT, I'm going short. I'm going short right there because then I'm anticipating the reversal back to that 10 a.m. opening price. And that's going to be my main target. And then obviously from there, you'd have another projection back down to use. Okay, so then you could take a partial or take most off there at the 4-hour open and then look to take the rest off at 2 to 2.5. Okay, those right there are some of my favorite setups when they give that 10 a.m. data and just trade straight away from that opening. Like I said, they haven't gave that setup in probably like a month or two. from what I've seen, or I haven't taken the setup in like a month or two, but those setups right there are some of my favorite for sure. So a wickless candle is most likely to be taken off in the same power of 3. Yes. And if it doesn't, it's going to be a great draw for the future. So like I said, it's not something I'm trying to force, but it's definitely a setup I'm going to be trying to frame out. So like I said, if they trade straight up from 10 a.m., like I'm not just going to be shorting just because of it. I'm going to wait for them to trade into a previous projection, show SMT, just like I'm wanting for normal setups. And then I'm looking for that reversal and taking it to the power of 3 opening price. Will you take a trade on live? Not today. I don't plan on it because, like I said, I already went over, like you could replay the live stream and go back to the beginning. I went over the setups I took this week already. There was some banger setups these last 2 days. We longed yesterday right here as we manipulated the midnight open onto the breaker. 1 shot, 1 kill. Boom. Right up to 2 to 2.5 standard deviations. Same thing the day before. It was another 1 shot, 1 kill. And this is why I'm already done on the week. 1 shot, 1 kill, man. They gave 2 of them this week. And they both played out perfectly. Midnight manipulation, projecting that to the upside. And then the second one was the 2 a.m. first distribution leg. SMT at the lows. We longed right here. That candle. They came down, manipulated the midnight open onto the breaker once again. We go long. And up to 3.5 to 4 standard deviations, we went. All right. This week was beautiful, which honestly was a little surprising because it is a short week and we had non-farm payroll this week. How do you determine your stop loss placement? So let's go over it on the last 2 trades I took this week. So right here, whenever I went long, my stop loss was at this low. Why was it at this low? Because that was the invalidation of the long. So right in here is where I was going long. Just before 9:30. All right, because we were coming down, manipulating the midnight open onto the breaker. To me, the manipulation was already in play. We had a beautiful SMT at the low of day. Because you can see, so here's something else why this SMT was so significant, because it was after the midnight open. Okay, so they gave the midnight open and then they dropped it and formed the SMT. So the SMT came within this power of 3. So if this SMT was like right here, for example, like if this was the only SMT at these lows we had, then I would not have trusted this low yet, because the SMT that would have occurred over here would not have occurred after midnight. It wouldn't have been inside our current power of 3. So it would not have been protecting our current daily low. But since it was after midnight, that was protecting our daily low. Okay, and then from there we moved up, previous day high. And like I said, I didn't take a partial on my long there, which was kind of dumb, but at the same time I was pretty confident we were going to trade up to this 2 to 2.5 standard deviation. So right there, once they displaced down, I took it all off right here for 600 profit because I thought we were going to come back to the midnight open, and that's exactly what we did. And we just longed it again and then took it up. But yeah, that's why I'm already done on the week personally. We hit some banger trades this week. So I'm kind of just on here for fun, just tape reading, on here for vibes, answering questions, just seeing what's good with everyone. But yeah, stop loss placement, go with, you want to try to keep your stop loss at SMT. I say that because SMT is the whole thing in validating and validating the trade idea. Because if that SMT was wiped, that would have wiped the whole upside idea. So then if we took out that low, I would have wanted to be out of my long then. It was different here once we took the low because we had already went up and delivered that 2 to 2.5 standard deviation. So let's go back to the day before again. So whenever I was going long, right here, where did I have my stop loss? Right here at the SMT low, our current low of day. Because once again, they had SMT after the midnight open. They dropped it after the midnight open. The ES is the one that made a new low. NQ failed to. There was our SMT. So then there, as they came back to the midnight open, went long. What are standard deviation alignments? You can actually go to my Twitter. I've posted a post where I talk about time frame alignment. Hold on, let me search for it real quick and see if I could link it in here real quick. Okay, yeah, here it is. I'll send it in the chat right now. Here's a link to a tweet. That's where like I talk about the time frame alignment I'm typically using for Power of 3. OBD, can you please show us live as to how you draw projections? I mean, this one we're using to the upside, I drew live. I didn't have that on my chart to begin with. But I mean, if you go down, you can see. If you go between time frames here, you'll see why I'm using this high rather than like this internal high right here. If you go up between 5, 15 minutes, the hourly, look how much better that aligns to the hourly chart. Because, for example, so let me move it here to that 15 minute and that 5 minute high right here, where a lot of people would be using it just because it's the first high or low there. Let's go up to the hourly chart. Look how it aligns, okay? That high is just right here in the middle of these candles. That just does not look good. Rather than if you're keying to the high of it, that looks much better. That's time frame alignment. So you focus heavy on midnight price and not 4-hour opens or daily opens. Ha! Midnight is the true daily open, not the 6 p.m. open. But yes, I focus pretty much only with the midnight and the 4-hour opens. So I'm going back up reading some of these. How do you identify change in the state of delivery after SMT? If I'm being honest, that's not really like something I focus with or use, like changing the state of delivery. Same thing with market structure shift. That's probably two of the things I've gotten asked about. Like, I can't even tell you how many times in my time trading, and it's just something I don't pay attention to. It's something I think is unneeded. It's overrated concepts. To me, I just think you need logic behind what you're seeing in price. You need a why and be able to explain it. And to me, the standard deviation in SMT explains everything I need to know. Is there a PD array that you have to see line up with SMT? You don't need to, but I will say whenever SMT forms like inside like a higher time frame array or something, it's definitely a lot like higher probability for sure. Have you actively been checking YM for SMT? I don't. I personally don't really watch the YM much at all. SMT between NQ and ES is much stronger. And just in my time trading, there's a lot of times the Dow is just in its own world. Like it's off doing its own thing. Like, don't get me wrong, there's definitely days it's in sync moving within Q and ES, but just from my time trading, I've seen the Dow off in its own world doing its own thing more times than I'm comfortable using it. And like I said, SMT between NQ and ES is much stronger. So, okay, we just had the 930 open and they are giving a downside move right now. I think this is fake. I think it's going to go back up. Already starting off this nasty correlation. ES moving up still, NQ moving down. What do you expect from -1 and -1.5 levels? I might talk about that in the future. That's for another day. How do you enter? What is your entry strategy? I'm typically entering into the SMT. So for example, like the last 2 days, I'm typically entering into that SMT or off a breaker. That's typically the 2 ways I'm entering, into the SMT or off the breaker. And yesterday, I mean, I did enter into the SMT in London. Like I said, I took that first long in London, stop loss at this low. But like I said, I took that one off a bit early. I took it off in here because I thought they were going to come back to midnight, and that would have stopped me at break even anyway. So I took it off there. But the second entry, it was inside the breaker. So the breaker right here, as we came back down, we manipulated the midnight open into the breaker. I entered there. Same thing the day before, I entered into the breaker again. As they came back down into the breaker, manipulated the midnight open, entered there, stop loss at the SMT low. So, I mean, I'm either entering into the breaker or I'm entering there where the SMT is forming. That's typically the 2 ways I'm going about it. And if you're not confident entering into the SMT, or if you're newer to the model, I recommend doing the breaker entries or waiting for an inverse fair value gap or something like that, because it does take time to get used to seeing it unfold. And trying to just top tick or bottom tick it, you can get hurt very easily. What is a breaker? I'd watch some of my YouTube videos. It's very hard to just explain everything about a breaker in just like a quick conversation, but here is the pattern of a breaker. This is the pattern of a bullish breaker. This is the pattern of a, this is the pattern of a bearish breaker. So hold on, I'll mark it up what the breaker would be. So the breaker would be right here on a bullish breaker. So it's whenever you have a low and a high, and then we make a lower low. Okay, so then whenever we break back above that high, this right here is the breaker, and we usually bounce off of that. But you want more to it rather than just a pattern. And this is why I'm saying to go watch some of my YouTube videos on them. Because a breaker by itself is just another PD array that could be broken, and this would be the bearish. So for example, so looking at the bullish example here, let me drag it over to yesterday. So let's look how similar this is to yesterday. Okay, so right here, looking into this swing here where I'm marking the breaker. Okay, so they went up. We have our high. So we have our high, we came down, we formed the high, and boom, we make the lower low. So right there, as we're expanding back above the high, that's what's happening right here in my drawing. It's expanding back above the high after it made that new lower low. And then it's coming back, retesting the breaker. Okay, retest the breaker and continues higher. And then that's no different than what happened right here. It came back for one more retest. This is just a little more in depth of a breaker. This is my one shot, one kill. Where the midnight open is also inside the breaker. Like I said, I didn't do the most justice here explaining it inside this live. I recommend going and watching my YouTube videos. I have multiple videos over breakers. Watch the one shot, one kill. I have breakers or videos just on breakers. Yeah. I've noticed that some of your breakers contain more than one candle. Okay, yeah, that's a good question. That's one more thing I'll say about breakers real quick. So right here, for example, if you're gonna mark out a breaker, whenever there's more than one consecutive candle in a row, that's when you're marking more than one for the breaker. So like the bullish breaker, there's 2 green candles there in a row. You'd be marking them both for the bullish breaker. If there was just one, then yes, you would only be marking the one. But since they're consecutive in a row, you're marking more than one. That's one breaker. Isn't 1 to 1.5 reaccumulation? Not in a sense. It's not this. It doesn't work the same way 2 to 2.5 does though. Okay, they're taking NQ much more aggressively on this move down right now. Like I said, I still think it's fake. I think they're going to want to take it back up higher. But you can see the correlation. ES is still hanging out up here. Do you only look for 5-minute breakers? No. No, I'm pretty much looking at like all time frames really. Like I'll mark breakers out from the daily. I mean, we can move up and look at the daily breaker, for example, right here. There was that daily bearish breaker, which obviously we're expanding a little bit above it now, but you can see it. We already reacted off it nicely. But just showing like the pattern of a breaker, like I'm marking it on and looking at it on all time frames. To me, it's another PD array. It's just like a fair value gap to me. I mean, you can mark out fair value gaps on the lower time frame, higher time frame. It's no different than any PD array, really. The only difference is you just need logic behind them. Like a breaker by itself is useless. To me, it needs SMT above or below it. Not one fair value gap since 9:30 on the 1 minute on NQ. Wait, really? Damn, yeah, you're right. It has been this little choppy action here. When marking out the standard deviation, do you place the one at the start or the end of the leg? I mean, it depends which way you're projecting. If you're projecting to the upside or downside. Because, I mean, if you're projecting to the upside like this, then the 1 is always going to be keyed to the low. But if you're projecting to the downside, then the 1's going to be keyed to the high. Price math efficient. Do you trade only profit counts or personal? Personal. And I say this to everyone in the Discord. The goal should be to get to a personal account. I tell everyone as they're pulling out payouts, I recommend saving some so that you can find a live account. Because to me, consistency rule and any type of trailing drawdown is a scam. It is a scam. Don't get me started on consistency rule. That is the biggest scam in the prop firm industry. Biggest scam in the trading industry. Consistency rule. That essentially keeps your winners from running. Biggest scam. Yes, it does. Can standard deviations catch the top of the bottom of the manipulation or only the end of the distribution? It can catch the top or bottom of the manipulation. Just not every day, though, are they going to give a clean swing for it. A lot of times they typically are just going to give like the main or the clean swing being the distribution. But the days that they do give it of that manipulation, that's when it's a lot more likely you can catch that top or bottom tick for sure. Order block entry, yeah, it's going up nicely off that order block now. Let's see if it wants to continue up into 2 to 2.5. To trading a personal account, I personally, okay, it also depends how you go about it. I think if you were trading props before and you have consistently pulled out payouts, I think you will do much better in a live account. But you can't go into the live account wanting to just press the button and shoot for those big winners just because you don't have those rules you need to follow anymore. No, you still need to have rules because you're trading your live money at that point. You could, like, a lot more things can go wrong definitely when you're trading your live capital. But to me, not having to just follow all these rules, trade them on a certain days, hit a certain amount of profits every day so that I could pull out a payout from a trade that we bang that day. Like, if I hit a 40-point trade, what's stopping me from withdrawing it that next day? Nothing. But if you're with a prop firm, you might have to hit 4 more days of hitting $100 profits on a day, which absolutely makes no sense. Or you could be up $3,000 on your funded account, but if you're not at your 40 or 50% consistency rule, you can't take out your profits. You have to make more so that you can hit that to still not even be able to pull out the full amount. Man, it's just, like I said, I definitely think prop firms are good for people that need to take that route if you don't have the capital to fund a live account. But I think if you get payouts from prop firms, I think it's better to save it so that you can fund your own live account. And once you get to that stage, I think 4 to 5K is a good amount to start with. And I wouldn't go above trading 1 mini. How long have you been trading? I was getting into it in 2020. I mean, it was really right there as I was getting out of high school. I was really getting into trading. I didn't really start taking it serious until 2021. I mean, that's when I really started to take it serious. Yeah, big scam. I see that now, just learning valuable information. Yep, I'm just, like I said, throwing the facts out there. I mean, there's a lot of things. I was serious about my Fortnite career in 2021. Yeah, no, I was definitely still gaming it up a lot back then, too. Still no 1 minute FVG on ES. Yeah, the ES is straight sideways right here now. I will say the high of day is still at the same time. Like, it's still at 9:30. ES didn't make a new high there. I still feel like this is going to go up. But yeah, just by looking at it, you can see how nasty the correlation is right now. I mean, ES is still hanging out right here at the highs. NQ is much more aggressive on that move down. But here's something I'll say while I'm on live. If this is you, you really need to take a step back and reevaluate. Okay? I was talking about this with the Discord last week. Okay? If this is you, really think about this. Okay? If you are coming into the market every day, okay, if you are struggling, all right, if you were coming in every day doing the same thing, you're buying a funded account and blowing it, okay? Maybe you're not blowing it the same day, okay? Maybe you're blowing it a few days later, but you're doing the same thing on repeat. You're getting a funded account, blowing it. You're trading the same things, okay? What do you think is gonna happen? You're just gonna get lucky one day and get a payout? Okay, so then what happens after that? Okay, you're just going to give it all back, paying it back in fees, buying new funded accounts. Okay, you have to have a shift in your mindset. Something else has to change. Okay, it's either the way you're going about it or your strategy. Something is wrong if you're doing the same thing day in and day out. What do you think is going to change? How do you expect something to change? If you're doing the same thing every single day, expecting different results, that is the definition of insanity. You keep getting lucky. That's exactly what it is. And or not even that. Some people don't even keep getting lucky. Some people just keep blowing their shit over and over and over and then buying new accounts and then still doing the same thing the next day. It's like, what do you expect to happen? Yeah, eventually you're gonna get lucky one time and get a payout. And it's like, so what? Yeah, you got a payout. Nobody gives a shit. If I'm being honest, nobody will give a shit because you're not gonna be consistent with it. You're just gonna blow it the next week or two back buying more fundeds. Like, I don't know. I was talking about that with the Discord a week ago or so. If that's you, you really need to take a step back and reevaluate, because nothing's going to change. You're just going to be in an endless cycle. Funded account is good just to learn from your mistakes and then move to personal funds. Yeah, I could get behind that. Yeah, I mean, I definitely recommend too, like if you're new to trading futures, like if you came from trading options, or if you're just new to trading in general, the funded route's definitely a good way to start. You're not risking your own money. You get to see just the way price moves, the way the contracts move. Definitely. Dude, I wish YouTube live streams had GIFs like Discord. What's his face would be going crazy right now. Fear. Next payout, I'm eating some good barbecue. Oh, hell yeah. I'd be going dumb right about now. Yeah, YouTube just has like these shitty emotes you can put in the chat. Like, check that one out. That should get you hyped. Alright, yeah, NQ's moving back up here. Let's see if they want to push it up. I will say the ES just took the high there, so I really don't. So if they're going to continue it higher here, I really don't want to see them come back down again, like what they did in these last 3 candles, because ES just took the high again there. So now if they take it back to this low, they have SMT at the high, and it's just not looking as pretty. And they'll likely, I feel like if they bring it back to this low, it's going to move back for this 4-hour open. But we also have a new 4-hour open here in 10 minutes. So let's see if they want to hang it around up here. I think they're going to want to hang it around up here and start to push it higher for this 10 a.m. But we'll see here. Now the emoji's coming out in the chat. Hell yeah. Nah, I like the gifts though on the Discord. But yeah, I retweeted that Blake tweet yesterday. The biggest delusion is believing the economy is doing great because the stock market is up. And that is 100% facts. 100% facts. I'm not here to argue with anyone, but 100% facts. What prop firm would you use? I'm not really familiar with all the rules or anything, but fuck, if I'm thinking off the top of my head, I think my funded futures had the best rules from the last time I looked. Like if I had to go the funded route, I think I would be going my funded futures. Eight months into my trading journey, glad I met you. Just need to work on getting good at entries. Yeah, entries are definitely, it's definitely important. What I'll say is just let them come to you. Mark out your points of interest and let price come to you, because then you're more confident to enter once price reaches your points of interest, and it just makes more sense. I don't think they have a consistency rule. Yeah, if they don't have a consistency rule, it's probably one of the better prop firms. I'll go ahead and say that. Top Step also not bad. They also the cheapest right now. Cheapest also doesn't mean best. I will say cheapest can be good. It can be a nice upfront cost, especially those freaking activation fees. Those are dumb as hell too, I think. Okay, now ES is being a bit more aggressive here to the downside. That candle left no wick on ES. It's only a 5-minute candle though. Whoops. So here's what I'd say. I'd watch this breaker right here. To me, this would be like my line in the sand for if they're going to continue to the upside. Like, this is the last spot I could see them go down to. I wouldn't want to see them go below this breaker if they're going to continue higher. Chop right after market open. That's funny how this has happened so many days now. And you know what's funny too? I swear it's the days I stream. I swear. The days I stream, they're like, all right, 9:30 open. Yeah, he's streaming. Let's go sideways. This is a good day. Gonna get taken then? Six minutes, we have this new 4-hour open. And this is something to keep in mind too. So for the people that are on here that aren't in the Discord, that don't see me live often, when you're trading around these times, keep your eye on the time. Because you'll notice we have a new 4-hour open incoming. Because a lot of times that can set the stage and tell you like what's about to come. Because, for example, like a lot of times if we're right here at the high and they open the 10 a.m. open, okay, then you can reasonably anticipate we're still going to continue higher because we're going to have to manipulate above that 10 a.m. open. And if they open it all the way up here, there's not enough room to do that without taking this high, and then that would wipe the SMT. So then you could expect to continue it higher. So it's little things like that you can think about whenever they give those new Power of 3 openings. Oh, you meant the ES high, by the way. I'm a dip, man. Have a good stream. All right, bro. Have a good day. Could you kind of check your X for Discord DMs after the stream? It's urgent. Yeah, I'll check them after this. I got you. Yeah, I'm usually pretty good about checking them unless it goes into like where it requests. So usually if it's first time DMing, it'll put it in the request or something. And if it takes me a minute to respond, you can usually just like DM or just message in the Discord. Is your Discord open? Yeah, there's a free part of it. Yes, sir. I can send the link again. I'll send it there in chat. These YouTube emotes are so goofy. Yeah, no, that's what I was saying whenever I looked through them. I was like, what the hell even are half of these? Red card? What the fuck? Ref. Ref, do something. NQ is not moving. Nah, YouTube makes too much money to not fix this garbage arsenal. Oh god. Fear could show him what to add. Bro, he could just give them their camera roll and they'll have infinite gifts to use forever. I mean, so far, looking at today, I'd say, to me, the cleanest move was last night, honestly. That London move and then the move they gave right there, that wick there. To me, those two moves have been the cleanest. To me, either one of those, that's honestly a trade I probably would have taken, either one. Because down here in London, I mean, I wouldn't have taken this knowing we had high impact news like this in the morning. But if we didn't have like non-farm payroll this morning, then yes, this is definitely a setup I would have taken. To me, this is very similar of like the setups I took the last 2 nights in London. I mean, they traded up. We came up just short of 3.5 to 4. They took it all the way back down here to the breaker. They bounced on the breaker. And then not only that, the ES manipulated the midnight open. It also made a new low of day. So there was 2 forms of SMT right here at the low. So right there would have been a very valid long to me. And then look at that, right up to 3.5 to 4, hit the 4 standard deviation, and then boom, they went right back to the low. Must have been random, right? Must have been sellers that stepped in there, right? At 3.5, 4 standard deviations, right? Must have been. How often do you stream on Discord? I stream every Sunday night for like my pre-week analysis. We're just going over kind of like key levels for the week, some ideas we could see play out. And then during the week, I'm typically doing 1 to 2 live streams. Like this week, I live streamed yesterday. So we caught that long yesterday on live stream. And then that was the only day I streamed this week because this week was a short week and we have non-farm payroll today. So I really wasn't going to stream a second time, but I did today's stream on YouTube just because fuck it. I was kind of just chilling, wanted to stream again. But usually I'm streaming 1 to 2 days to live trade during the week. Those days vary based on news. Do you mark out smaller manipulation standard deviation levels on the lower time frame for more confluence right now? I mean, not typically. Like, I'm typically only marking the standard deviations that are manipulating our power of 3 opening prices. Because to me, like, moves like this very well could be your bread and butter. I'm not telling anyone to sit out the moves I sit out, because those moves could be your bread and butter that makes sense to you. But me personally, I sit out a lot more moves than what probably you are going to, because I'm looking to trade those few setups during the week where I think we're going to expand on the week. So like I'm breaking down the weekly power of 3. So then I'm breaking it down even further into each day. I'm trying to figure out which day we're more likely to expand and make the meat of the move of the weekly power of 3. So there's days that I'm sitting out. That's why I say, like, if you come trade with me, you're going to learn real patience. But like I said, those smaller moves right there, that could be your bread and butter. Those scalping moves, they're just personally not for me. I don't really focus with those, but they're definitely very tradable. You ever look at how much price moves with the open and term, whether it's opening low or high? I mean, I'm pairing the open with the standard deviations and SMT. If we're hitting our standard deviation, form SMT, then yeah, I'm looking at like the open there to be manipulation, and then they continue at the opposite direction. But I mean, if our manipulation's in play before the open, then typically I'm either looking at the open to continue the distribution, or if it goes the opposite way, I'll look at it as a fake move. Kind of how I'm doing this morning. Like, I'm wanting to see this move down be the fake move to continue higher. Because yeah, 10 a.m. we're just trading straight down from it right now. Because honestly, here's what I'm looking at. Like, I'm looking at this internal low right here. The low where I was talking about earlier, where ES manipulated the midnight open and where we tested the breaker and the fair value gap. ES is below that low right now, so we're forming an SMT here. So I think if we get back above this 4-hour open, it's looking good, like they're going to continue it higher. What do you think of longs here? They definitely don't look like a bad stab, I'll say that. I mean, if you do have it, you have a nice low to frame the stop loss to. 794, the SMT low. Do you think the data low will be swept? I was really wanting to see it hold for today. I was wanting to see it hold for today. Or if they did reverse for it, reach this 2 to 2.5 standard deviations first and then go down for it. But I was thinking they were going to leave it for today, continue a bit higher. But yeah, I'm really monitoring this low right here. See if NQ takes this out as well. Do you need TradingView Premium for live data on NQ and ES? I don't know if you need to buy TradingView Premium, but I know you have to buy like a special data pack. Yes, I know the data pack's only like $3 or something, maybe a month. But yeah, for live data, you do have to buy something on TradingView for NQ and ES. Otherwise, it's delayed by, I think, 15 minutes. For me, when I try to buy it, I have to pay $16. Then maybe you do need TradingView Premium, because I do have TradingView Premium. I just didn't think you needed it for the live data. I thought you could just buy the data, but maybe not. What's good, Jason? Premium is just for extra charts and time frames like seconds. Okay, that's what I thought. So I think you can buy the data by itself. The data is like $5. Yeah, it's something small like that. It's under 10, I know for sure. You take anything, BD? No, I'm kind of just chilling on live today, just kind of for vibes. I'm up nice on the week. I'm up 5K on the week, so I'm not really trying to give any back here on NFP. These last 2 days, Jason, they gave 1 shot, 1 kills. I've taken them both. They both banged. Fire, yes, sir. Nah, you need both. I had the problem. Oh, okay. Yeah, I wasn't too sure because I mean, I've always just had TradingView Premium, so I'm not sure off the top of my head. Can you please show how to mark the standard deviations right quick? I'll just show a quick example from like last night's that I was using. Okay. Why was I marking this? Well, this was our manipulation of the midnight open, and it became very clear on this second run down. Okay. So me personally, if I would have traded this last night, I didn't trade it last night because we had non-farm payroll this morning, so it's something I sat out. But this is a very valid setup I would have taken. If I would have taken this, I would have sat out this first upside move because there really wasn't much to it to trust it here. We didn't have any SMT at the time, okay? They both did the same thing. They went down, manipulated the midnight open, and continued higher, okay? But on the second run down here, the ES manipulated the midnight open. The NQ came up just short by a tick or two there. And on top of that, the ES made a new low of day. The NQ did not. So right there, that confirmed the manipulation of it. So then right there, you can project. And you know that's a valid leg to project because you can go up to multiple time frames like the 15-minute and look how well it aligns. Okay, same thing. Go to the hourly. Look at that. The fib that I'm keying, it's on an hourly high, hourly low. Okay, so then once again, going back down, look what happened here. The SMT, they reversed from there, and where did they go? Where did they go? Right up to 3.5 to 4 standard deviations from there. And then from there, they reversed it right back to the lows and then continued higher. Oh shit, they brought it all the way back to the breaker now. But yeah, me personally, if I was trading this, like I said, I would have likely taken a long off of that move there, and then I'd probably be getting stopped at break even here if I was targeting 2 to 2.5. If I was trading today. I mean, that's typically why I avoid NFB as well, but I'm still on the side. I think this wants to go higher as long as this low isn't taken. Because, I mean, we still haven't hit the standard deviations. We have SMT at our low. Yeah, they formed that hourly FVG now. Let's see here. I'm thinking this hourly order block and this breaker here is going to send it back up. Because we've also traded straight down from the 10 a.m. open, so I'd say at the deepest I'd see this retrace go to is 50% of that wick, but I really don't want to see them close below the breaker if they're going to continue higher. That just wouldn't be clean. Don't you mark out Asia and London manipulation legs? London, I definitely do. I really don't give too much attention to Asia, to be honest. Like, I'll mark out Asia highs and lows, like if it looks like a good draw, like if we leave some relative equal highs or something, or if we leave a nice volume imbalance. But I mean, for the most part, I'm mainly projecting through, I mean, after midnight. I mean, there is times I'll watch like the 10 p.m. projection, because that's that last 4-hour open before the midnight open, because that 4-hour leads into 2 a.m. So there's times like I'll watch that 10 p.m. projection, because you could see like the midnight open, and then like they trade straight away from it into like the 10 p.m. projection, and then you can play the reversal back to midnight. So you don't use the power of 3 that contains Asia, London, and New York AMD? Not typically, because to me, the real daily power of 3 starts after midnight. So, I mean, I kind of am, but I'm looking at like the bigger power of 3 like that after midnight. I think that's Squizz's username, right? If so, have a good one, brother. See you on Sunday. How do you use it after midnight? I mean, I'm just paying attention after midnight. I'm using midnight as the true daily open, not the 6 p.m. open. Can you look at 9 to 10 a.m. 1-hour projection from yesterday? So, I mean, hold on. Where was the weekly open? Yeah, that is. Yeah, you know, that does look pretty good. I like how that 3.5 to 4 is aligned with today's 3.5 to 4, honestly. I do like that projection because it also manipulated below the weekly open there. Yeah, good eye. Yeah, good eye, Reese. That actually is nice. I like that. What are your thoughts on SMT high with all-time highs? Like, I mean, I was really wanting to see the first one we had, like here with this internal high, take us to the monthly FVG, and it was looking good off that first move down. But yesterday, once they closed above that daily order block level I had, I kind of anticipated this pump we were going to get. So I still think it's very possible, like for the reversal off this SMT here, but in Q, I really don't want to see it go above the 50% of this weekly wick. Like, that's really my line in the sand now. Like, I think if it gets above that, that's going to invalidate it, because I think above that, it's going to go up into this high. But I think if we form like another lower time frame SMT up here, like on like the hourly chart or something at these highs, I'm thinking about grabbing like a short swing up here to look for that monthly FVG. Because I mean, honestly, I mean, I came into the week with a bearish bias wanting to see that, and I mean, I only took longs this week, so. Appreciate you, bro. I have a similar model, and I've taken a lot of sauce from you. That's awesome. Gonna have to join the Discord. Let's go. I called everything that happened yesterday, predicted the whole market in your videos, and shit helped me. Love hearing that shit. Love hearing that stuff. Still hella wicks on the 1 minute. Yeah, I really try to stay off the 1 minute, but yeah, that 1 minute delivery is pretty nasty right now, I will say. It's just a lot of just slowly drifting. That is some of the worst movement, when it's just slowly drifting. Yo, Sid, it's what was already in for the description. I kind of just went live from what was on there last time. That's so funny, though. No, you're not wrong. I do need it. Damn, they really dumping this right now. I'm watching the low of day. I feel like if they take low of day, I'm probably not going to stay on the live too much longer, because then to me, that's just not really what I was wanting to see. It's just not aligning anymore. And I think my tape reading session will be over. Did that close below the 50% of this wick? Let's see. Okay, we're right at the 50% right now. This is the line in the sand here. A close below this is, to me, that's just invalidating the upside setup. They're going to take the low again. What does the higher time frame candles indicator do? It just pulls up these right here, what I have to the right. These higher time frame candles. Like I said, I was showing it earlier. You can mess around with it a lot. You can change the time frame of the candle it shows. You can change the amount of candles it shows. Just helps you keep an idea of what's happening there on the higher time frame. Because I mean, that's the whole thing of what I'm trading. Power of 3. I'm breaking down the higher time frame candles. Flip bearish. See, it's really hard for me to trust a bearish setup with where they gave that 10 a.m. open, because they didn't do anything above it. So I'm saying, like, if they take the low here, it's pretty nasty to me, and why I would just personally hop off. It just wouldn't be aligning as well to me now. Because if I had traded this, like I said earlier, I would have longed there where they tested the breaker and the fair value gap, because ES also manipulated the midnight open on that wick, NQ didn't. I would have tried a long on that if I was trading, and I probably would have gotten stopped at break even. Are you trading using only one screen or more? I have 2 monitors. I have my main monitor. I mean, it's just like a regular monitor, and then my top monitor is an ultra wide. Which, whew, hey, all I'm saying is, if you all have the money for it, I recommend getting an ultra wide. It is so nice having it. It is so nice having it. Like, across my ultra wide at the top, like, I have the YouTube live stream up, like, I have my other audio program up, I have Discord, I have OBS open. You can fit so much stuff across this. It also depends, like, I have like a 49-inch ultra wide. It's so nice. One of my favorite things I've invested in for my setup, for sure. What are your thoughts on this price action? I mean, to me, if NQ takes the low, it's definitely not looking that pretty. And it just did. Because that's what I'm saying. Because now to me, it's just invalidating this upside swing I was looking at. And I don't like that. To me, it just looks nasty now because although like it's invalidating what I was looking for like to the upside, it also doesn't look good for downside right now in my opinion because of the 10 a.m. open. I think they're likely to refer back to it. And if they don't, we're very bearish. This YouTube lo-fi music low-key slapping right now. Bro, I know I need to put it on whenever I stream in the Discord now too. It's just nice having some little background noise. But at the same time, I usually don't, just because I usually like to pull up someone else's live stream up on my other monitor. So then I can just get an idea of what more of the masses are thinking. Like Patrick Weiland live stream. But damn, yeah, they're making this new low. Yeah, whoever it was that said that mentioned this swing from yesterday, I do really like that swing. I'm glad you mentioned that because I do like how it also manipulated the weekly open there. That's what this white line is there that I marked out. Dang. I mean, I was saying it earlier, if you were on at the beginning of the stream, volume imbalances are some of the strongest draws, like gaps, wicks, gaps, volume imbalances. And I mean, look at that. We're coming right back down for this volume imbalance. I really thought they would leave it for today, leave it for next week, but looks like I was wrong on that. But all right, guys, so I think I'm about to call the live. I have to take the dog to the vet here soon. So I'm not staying on here really as long as I wanted, but I kind of fucked with this live stream. I'll have to do another one here on YouTube here soon. Like I said, I'll have to do an actual live trading one here soon. Like I said, I didn't do any live trading today because I'm already up nice on the week. To me, there was just no reason to give any profits back to non-farm payroll. So that's really why I wasn't trading today. But I thought I'd hop on here for some vibes, do a little tape reading, see what everyone's up to. Yeah, they've completely flattened out this daily candle. Brilliant stream, bro. Thanks heaps. Yeah, no problem, brother. Yeah, like I said, I want to do another one of these here soon. I don't know what day yet. We'll have to see. But all right, guys, I appreciate y'all tuning in. I'm gonna be calling it here. Like I said, it just doesn't look that pretty to me anymore of what's happening today. I don't think they're gonna, I think if anything, they're likely gonna bring it back up in the range. Because I don't like how they gave that 10 a.m. open and traded straight down. It's just very hard to trust downside still. And then now with them just taking the low of day, that invalidated the upside swing I was looking at. It just doesn't look pretty now. Just doesn't look pretty. And that's typically what I try to avoid. I mean, I'll look for those obvious moves, try to play that obvious move. And to me, honestly, that obvious move happened in London last night. How I was saying with that SMT they gave here. Honestly, this whole week, these past like 4 days, the main and obvious moves to me occurred in London. London was some clean moves. So if you want to go back and backtest this week, go study the London moves from this week. They were very clean. But all right, boys, I'm off here. Appreciate y'all tuning in. Later.